Welcome back, everybody, to the Natty 19 podcast. I'm Jonathan Marshall. We are back at it. We just come off a heavy, another thick combat. I mean, that was rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
Rough for some of us, anyway. It was definitely not really rough for anybody, really, but Zavril.
Still, everything we were throwing at it
took a lot of energy.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were drained. Are drained. Let's pick it right back up. Why not?
Natty 19 podcast. Coming at you.
Coming at ya. So the fight ends. You're scanning well, it's nighttime, right? At this point.
Yeah, we talked about trying to make sure there weren't any other threats around, and Zimbabwe pointed out that he didn't want to yet find another threat.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Disturb anything.
Perhaps if we set up our perimeter and we be close to the boats, then perhaps we'll be fine.
Not too close to the water. Remember the crocodiles.
The bone lines will get washed away.
My precious bone lines.
So check it out. You guys, so you've got the fight ended, you get camp all set up, and do you want to, is there anything else that you wanted to do on this night before?
Quincy's kind of, while we're setting up camp, he's kind of like taking a look around at everybody, and he's looking at the general morale. He's getting a sense of, how tough this was on everybody around him. And he's thinking about the obligation that we had for our matron, Sindra Sylvain. He's going to find Irame first amongst all the... Well, no, not Irame. He's going to find Inete and try to and have a conversation with Inete.
Brutal, dude.
While camp setup is happening.
You find her. She's just going through her thing. She was actually jotting down. I'm assuming that this is like a little, maybe at least 25 minutes after the fight.
Yeah.
Everyone's just kind of in chill mode. You do find her. She's recording something in her journal.
Inete, I wish to thank you for your assistance with the rock elemental.
Oh, nailed it. Oh, it was nothing, really. I wish I could do more.
I have made this staff of Azut. You knew I was working on this, and I know it's something that you and your grandfather have spoken that you prefer to celebrate Savris's other deeds, but I was wondering if perhaps you would entertain me and aid me in using the staff to perform an incantation and to invoke Savris's name.
I shall do my best. Do you have the spell?
Perhaps you could help me with this as well. I wished to find something. There's something that I think is nearby, and I want to know if we're on the right path and if it lie in the same place that we think you're dreaming of. So then I'll show her my staff that I've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
Easy now. I'll show her the staff that I've been working on, and I'll tell her the story of, when I was a child, that I would make the incantations. You see, my tutor, Master Triss, he was a great man, and he always taught me to not take invoking the gods lightly. And beside that, my father and my grandfather, they were ones to take their fate in their own hands. And so I grew up and have learned not to rely upon the gods very much. So this is new territory for me beyond the play as a child. But I feel that it is important that we approach this now. I am at my wit's end, and I am seeking to use every resource available.
I shall do my best. I could pray. I unfortunately do not have any rituals of the sorts that I could aid you with. That would be my grandfather.
I'll tell her the incantation that I remember from being a child. There was a rhyme there, correct?
Oh, yep. She snickers a bit.
Savrus, oh Savrus.
Yeah.
Right, that was the one. And I'll whisper. I want to make sure. I'm going to look around and make sure that none of the rest of the party could hear what we're talking about.
Quincy, you gonna get in on this bone dice game tonight?
I'll join you later, Copernicus.
What are you doing, Quincy? I can't do a Zimbabwe.
What's funny is what physically first happened in the group when he said he was going to whisper so that no one heard it. Both Sweeney and I leaned this way. We leaned away from you like, oh, we won't impose.
So he'll whisper to Inete and say, for reasons I cannot go into right now, I wish that this be kept between us. But I am looking for something called the Krugensphere.
The Krugensphere. Was that artifact that Copernicus showed my grandfather? What?
It is so. There is a missing piece, and I think it's... Well, I fear, anyway, I don't have strong evidence that it lie at the end of this map. And I'll pull out the map, and I'll show her the heart where her grandfather said that it was like the heart of Uptau. Yeah.
Yes, I will do what I can, but I must admit this is a bit unorthodox.
Thank you for humoring me. Like I said, I wouldn't bother you if I didn't think it was important.
Of course. It is just... I do not mean to poke fun, or make it sound as though I am. It is not often that I hear childhood rhymes mixed with a strange map.
I know how it sounds. But I did have a dream, and well, I know it sounds silly, but there was something about the dream that made me think that it was more of a guiding light.
Well, Quincy, it is my dreams that have brought me here to this heart of Uptau, and if it is as you say, with this map being related to my destination for such dreams, then perhaps there is something to be said about this. I will pray tonight.
Thank you. It's all I ask. And as he rejoins the rest of the group, he'll pick up his chores. If everything's done, maybe he'll throw some dice around with Copernicus.
Yeah, Cappy's been trying to teach Zavril how to play, but he's just not perceiving it.
It's like he got hit in the head with a rock a few times.
Hey, I just want to go to sleep. I think I have a concussion.
Get up, you pussy.
But I kind of want to do an insight on the people around me, on my own party. I want to know how they feel about this detour that we've taken to bring Inete to this place when we should be, by all accounts, going to Orlunga.
All right.
Let me roll the die. All right, so let's see. Oh, my insight's not that great, huh? It's a 7.
Well, I'll put it out here. If anybody is trying to hide their feelings about this change of destination, then make a bluff check.
Oh, damn.
Otherwise, if you're kind of showing it on your sleeve, then don't worry about it.
Yeah, chat about it.
No, Cappy's pretty open about it. The money alone was enough to convince him. He's not here to save the world. I mean, you'd think he should be because of the wife thing and the death curse, but he's a flawed person. And she offered to double the payment, and there's no money at Orlunga. Okay. So, and he knows the Krugensphere is here somewhere. It could be at Orlunga. It could be the heart of Uptau. It could be Refugee Bay. Who knows?
Should I roll? Irame is kind of holding back. Should I roll, and if I don't pass, explain, or should I explain
Well,
anyway
you-
and
yeah,
roll?
you roll a deception check. I
All
think
right.
it is.
You don't have to beat much.
You have to beat a 7, I
to
think.
beat a 7.
I got a 2.
Nah.
You know,
Oh,
Did you
wait,
add
wait,
your? Did you add your?
She's so
I got a
pissed.
4.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you want, you can tell you tell Quincy how you really feel.
Or maybe like your actions would betray.
Okay, so we've been jesting a lot about Irame being kind of jealous of Inete, and I've been doing that mostly as a player, actually. As a character, I don't think Irame is not very confrontational, and she welcomes people really wholeheartedly. So in the very beginning, when she thought she might be leaving the group, she definitely felt a twang of jealousy, and she knew it was envy that perhaps this girl was going to get to stay and carry on with her group of friends. But upon knowing that she was staying, those feelings disappeared. Irame is being quiet, and that's what people would perceive. Very similar to Copernicus, she is flawed. She's curious, and she loves adventure. So the thought of going after this heart thrills her, and she likes the idea, and she's not against it, and she likes Inete. But she just learned that her father is dying of the death curse, and she should be, by all accounts, in Oralunga, one step closer to unraveling that mystery. Maybe she feels a little guilt, like maybe she's betraying Syndra and her father a little bit. But much like Copernicus, she is drawn to adventure. That's why she left home in the first place. She would rather be in Oralunga, but she is content being where she is. I don't know how she'd express that in her actions, apart from that she's pretty quiet right now.
What about Mr. Don Chaka?
Zavril feels beat down right now, both figurative and literal. Now he actually took more of a liking to Inete than initially, especially after he regained consciousness and saw her there, standing over him. I guess he's kind of used to Quincy doing that at this point, but he didn't really have any ties to her until she did it. As far as the actual traveling to the floating stone, he's pretty interested in it. Right now he's tired. This island is taking its toll on him, and it's pretty visible at this point.
Okay, so if you were to waver one way or the other, continue toward the heart or go to Oralunga, which way would you prefer? Which way would Zavril prefer?
Zavril would prefer the going towards the heart. That's kind of, what he put in his mind, the decision that the group had made. So he wasn't really thinking about even going towards Oralunga or having second thoughts about stopping the progress towards the heart.
Okay.
You guys wake up.
Hit dice.
Yes, hit dice.
So is this a long rest?
It's a long rest, yep. And you actually wake up feeling a little different today.
6
What?
hit dice. Nice.
Yeah, you wake
Back to
up.
full.
Something is a little different as you wake up today.
Like good different, bad different.
Like you're level 5 different. Yeah, that earth elemental did it. That was enough to...
Get out of here. We're level 5? I didn't see that coming.
Nope.
Surprise!
I'm going to do this before everybody wakes up. Zavril. Now, normally, I don't know if you guys caught on to this, but Zimwa B has pretty much consistently been getting up before everybody since you've known him. He was always, every time you guys got up, he was up, either boiling water or he was starting to break down the camp, where he could without disturbing people. But today, Zavril, you wake up and Zimwa B is laying still. You nudge him, he's sleeping, but you are the first one awake this morning.
Wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's just an observation that you made, and you definitely noticed because normally, I mean, I think Zavril has been closest to Zimwabi.
Yeah.
It's just the way it seems. Every time you guys go and forage and do stuff, you're always there with him. I imagine it could be related to that. Maybe you were just expecting to wake up and join him doing whatever he's doing, but now you are the one all of a sudden. What do you do with it?
I'm going to go boil some water.
Shave Cappy's eyebrows.
Draw a dick on Cappy's cheek or something.
Yeah, I'm going to go look around. I'm going to walk past Copernicus and see if he's sleeping towards his bed and stuff like that.
He has a giant smile on his face while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
That's kind of creepy. So he's there. You know, he didn't get up and happen to leave throughout the night and stuff.
No, everyone's still there. Yep. Yeah, it's just an odd observation that you were the one that woke up first before Zim would be, so you had the initiative on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some water down by the lake, and then start boiling it and stuff. Start getting prepared for the day. Give Zimwabi some time to sleep. He went in there and acted quite brave.
All right, fair enough. So before too long, everybody, one by one, starts to wake up. Zimwabi wakes up second, and he immediately comes and joins you to start helping you. And he says, "Good morning, Zavril."
Good morning, Zimwabi. I figured I'd let you sleep in this morning.
I was going to say I had overslept. It is unlike me. But you have done well.
I have already gotten the water, and I'm starting to take down these bone lines now.
I see this. You have done well. You are picking up nicely. Now, at this point, everybody starts waking up. You find it neat as everybody starts. I'm imagining everybody's starting to break. Unless anybody has anything else they want to say, I'm assuming that you just start breaking down camp.
Should we do hit dice or just do that off air? Hit points. New hit points for level 5.
Oh, new hit points?
Because we're going to roll with you.
Yeah. I mean, we can do it now if you want to, or we could do it off air. It's up to you.
I like doing it. It's a fun exercise.
Yeah, so before we get into this business then, we're not leaving camp quite yet, but yeah, we may as well. Let's go ahead and roll some hit die. Level 5 hit die.
What is that? I don't.
Oh,
He
should we
gets
should we explain for everybody?
Sure, since Air may forgot.
So pretty much how we're doing it is the player rolls, everybody gained a level, so they get an extra hit die to determine how many more hit points they get. They roll and I roll, and the highest wins is what they keep. So
I will go first.
all right, Mr. Zavril,
I woke up. I'm feeling good, actually.
What do you roll? A D5?
D10. Might as well be a D5.
Mine's a D6. Don't pick.
I got a 6.
On a D10?
Yep.
8.
Ooh.
So next up, why don't we do Quincy? What are you rolling?
Quincy rolled a 6 on a D8.
It's going to be a 4 over here. So 6 it is. Copernicus.
D8.
D8.
And I got a 1.
6.
Nice. I'll take it.
Oh,
You're welcome.
And +2 in my con, so I get 8 hit points, bring me up to a total of 39.
Nice. Irame.
6.
6 with D6?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you got? I rolled a 1.
I rolled a 2.
Damn.
Plus your con.
Yeah, so that's 4.
You have consistently rolled low for your
Yeah.
hit points.
At level 5, I have 25 hit points.
Still better than the old wizards of yore.
I know. That was great for a level 5 back
All
in the
right.
day.
D4.
I hear you, though. You just got to have to play it safe like you always have been.
Throw some chromatic orbs from back in the back.
Yeah.
Switch it up a bit. Start throwing some command.
I have a mage armor. I have a mage armor that I usually a lot of times activate at the beginning of a battle. Gives me 15 to my armor. It bumps my armor class up.
You find a neat latching her pack. She slings it over her shoulder. She's looking over the site now where the earth elemental had become animated. She says, it appeared to be an earth elemental. Under different circumstances, I'd assume it was being controlled by a mage of sorts, though, according to my research, these lands are plagued with rogue elementals or otherwise magical creations forged from past affairs and then abandoned. She roams over to where it was discovered, and she bends down and examines the ground, and she continues, if I had to guess, this one had been waiting here for quite some time, based on the moss formation and the sun-bleached stone around it, perhaps triggered by motion of a certain size. We couldn't possibly be the only ones through here. She scans the area, and then she turns to you, Zavril. My skills are coming along, but I would imagine that you would be able to find out more if you were interested, Hunter.
So was she just like checking out where the corpse of the elemental was laying, or
she went
Where
from the
it came
corpse
from.
over and then over? Well, yeah. Now she's near where it originated from, which isn't too far from. It's pretty much the battle scene. She's just kind of looking over, investigating, trying to piece it together. She's trying to Sherlock it.
I will head over there with her and tell her, that I did sense that there were quite a few elementals earlier throughout the day. It's just hard, this area. I don't know it too well. I couldn't actually tell where they were coming from.
I understand.
Yeah, I will investigate with her.
Give me some investigation rolls.
So you think this is some kind of alarm?
If I had to guess,
I rolled a 4 on my investigation.
Irame is going to be kind of lazily investigating, maybe kicking over a rock here and there, looking around.
Yeah, Quincy was aiding. So
Quincy had helped you in that roll, so you can roll it again. It gives you an advantage on the investigation.
18.
There we go. Cappy only got 9, so
I got a 1.
So, bloodstains dating back weeks, some of them days, scuff marks.
Already coagulated.
Scuff marks indicate several fights, at least 3. Also, during your search, you turn up a weathered satchel pinned between a rock and a dry, washed-out log. All right, in the satchel, you find 25 gold pieces, 5 days of insect repellent, and some ruined trail rations that are useless. As you hear Zimbabwe call out, he looks like he had just finished up doing what he was doing at the camp. And he says, I believe we have done all we can here. Shall we get the boats underway?
Yes.
yeah, as we're loading up the boats, I'll just mosey along next to Inete and asked her if she had a chance to pray last evening.
Yes, I have prayed, and I will continue to do so until guidance appears. But there has been no answer yet on the matter.
Thank you. I appreciate your attention to this.
Of course.
I was waiting for Cappy to cut off a piece of the elemental.
no, he already collected a little bag full of rocks that broke off him.
Yeah, so based on the investigation, if you had a guess, this thing had been long abandoned, just been sitting here in the same spot, and anything of a decent size that came by, it would reanimate and kill it and drop back down to the ground. It could have been an alarm system for somebody's camp, or it could have been left over from, it could have, who knows? It could have been
awesome
left
alarm.
over from some.
Fuck our bone lines.
Yeah, so then just looking around the area, nothing else turns up. No bodies, no campsite, no trails or anything. No. Yeah, then back down the river we go. Or lake now, right?
At the basin. So, the journey continues as your boats move south along the basin shoreline with the massive floating earth moat looming in the horizon. the heart of Uptau.
Who could say no to the floating rock stone shaped like a heart?
Zimwabi rose up, says, thinking back on it, Zimwabi has heard of such a thing, this heart of Uptau. Though it was not realized until I heard it in connection to this floating mountain. A very long time ago, several men from a distant tribe had stopped at Taguda village. They were traveling on the backs of these massive birds. See, this stays with Zimwabi as though just days ago. However, early the following day, Zimwabi was coming off the river with a haul when the men were mounting their giant birds. The elder made it clear I was not to trouble the men, but Zimwabi has never seen such a thing, and could not be certain that I ever would again. And so, I asked the man closest, "Where do you go with such a power of flight?" And after smiling to one another, one of them looked down to me, and his face appeared sorrowful, as though he knew he was not long for this world. But his eyes, he now turns to you, Quincy. In his eyes there was the fire of faith. He said to me, "We venture into the Uptau's heart to seek his blessing." I could not know what the man meant, but I can tell you that was the day Zimwabi learned of equally conflicting desires. Talking to those men, of course Zimwabi was young and his head filled with stories. What was once understood as a man of faith sitting atop a giant bird seeking blessed aid, now years later piques my interest like never before. This floating heart of Uptau. I believe we are destined to come this way, my friend.
Irame is just going to say out loud quietly, how appropriate. I didn't think I wanted to be here either, but I can't think of any other destination I'd want to be headed towards now.
Says Irame, when I first met you, you were somebody who I was almost afraid to be around a little bit. Zimwabi did not know how to act around certain people, you must understand. But I believe you should know that you have saved Zimwabi's hide on several occasions. Zimwabi is ever grateful, and Zimwabi considers himself very lucky and fortunate to have a friend such as you.
I am fortunate to have you as well, Zimwabi. I rather like your hide.
He laughs. No, thank you. It is a good hide.
Copernicus will casually remind my academic friends here, Irame and Quincy, that
Uptau did turn his back on Chult, and he is said to guard the night serpent. I'm just remembering this now.
Do you think the night serpent is then unleashed, Copernicus?
Perhaps that is what's wrong with Chult?
I don't know what I think. He turned his back on this place.
Or perhaps he turned his back to guard the serpent. Myths and lore, true or not, can be interpreted in so many different ways.
So now, on the 11th day of Hammer, subject to change, a dense fog envelops the basin.
Fog.
It's early.
Godforsaken mist.
It's early in the day, early in the morning, and once again, Zavril, you wake up first.
I wake up again? Second day in a row, huh?
No, this is actually...
Like a few days now.
Where are we on the map at this point?
Let me show you on the map.
Yeah, let's get Exy.
All right, so I updated your position roughly on the map. So you're still a few days out, but through this fog, you hear some commotion going on, and but before so, I wanted to do Zavril, because he woke up first. Zavril, you notice Inete is at this point. Now, you'd already been up for a little bit. You were boiling water. You're doing your routine. You were taking over for Zumwabi. For whatever reason, either you're getting up earlier or he's getting up a little later. But for whatever reason, you've definitely been getting up before him these past few days. You now, after going through, beginning your routine, you find Inete, who is sitting on a rock. And next to her looks like a small pile of field dressings, dotted with faint blood stains. She appears to be tending to blisters on her feet, that had occurred. Blisters on her feet, on her hands. It appears as though she's physically having a difficult time on such a strenuous journey. She has not noticed your presence.
I'm going to walk up to her and, tell her that we can make a salve to, assist with the blisters and everything on her feet.
She's startled. She collects everything real quick, failing to hide it, but then everything just falls out of her arms onto the ground. She says, this is quite all right, Zavril. I appreciate it. I could very well heal these wounds with a simple prayer to Savras. But Grandfather says it's important to feel the pain of the journey, should one have any hope to appreciate it. She winces a bit and continues to wrap her wounds.
When we were back in Port Ninezaru, I believe you were mentioned to me, your family having a alchemical workshop, so to speak.
Well, yes, absolutely, in my grandfather's temple.
Do you have much experience there, or, with how to use everything inside of the workshop?
Oh, absolutely. I could dance around my grandfather's workshop like a fae. Is there something you are looking for?
When we get back, there is something that I would like to have researched. Something that has been troubling me, and I just want to see what origins it's of.
Oh, of course. I hope it can wait. We are quite some time out of Port Nyanzaru.
Yes, this is for once we get back.
It would be my pleasure, Mr. Don Tracker.
Will we see Mr. Don Tracker dancing like a fae in a lab, in an alchemical lab?
I sent a little Quincy jealousy forming here.
No, not at all.
And if you do change your mind, like I said, I can make a salve to help relieve your feet.
To be fair, most of the pain is in my hands from the rowing, but yes, these boots, I believe, a bit too small for me. I wish I knew a good cobbler. But I should be all right. Thank you, Mr. Don Tracker. I will not let it get in the way. If it becomes too much of a burden, I will heal myself.
And I did want to say thank you for all you did back there in the fight with the elemental.
Oh, absolutely. I felt it was my duty. I wish I could only do more.
I was embarrassed to fall both times. Yes, I know it was 3.
So many times.
Oh, you don't need to be embarrassed, Mr. Don Tracker. These earth elementals are extremely dangerous foes, or friends, but it just so happens this one was our foe, and there is no need to be embarrassed whatsoever. You did remarkably well, considering.
Considering it kept targeting me.
While you guys are talking, now everybody else is starting to rouse. You hear a bit of commotion. Sounds like yelling of sorts. However, with this fog, how thick it is, why don't we do perception checks if you want? But I'm going to impose a -5 penalty due to this nasty fog.
It's a -2 for Copernicus.
Copernicus is still sleeping.
That is a 12.
12 for Quincy as well.
A 10 for Zavril.
All right, so with the 12s, you could definitely make out screaming, but it's not a distress scream. It's more of a battle cry. And as far as the distance, impossible to tell with a 12 through the fog. It sounds far away, you know, but in your experience with fog, it could be 15 feet away.
Quincy will bolt upright, put his hand on the hilt of his rapier, and kind of give a quick look at his companions to see if they noticed anything as well.
It does appear that everybody, with the exception of Copernicus and Inete,
Cappy's sharpening his dagger.
Zimwabid is definitely Yakoa in hand, ready to go. Do you hear that? He calls.
Hear what?
Heard some type of screaming.
Ready yourself. There's a fight nearby.
Cappy will summon the sword.
Zimwabi, can you tell the distance? I can't seem to make it out.
Shaking his head. I cannot make it out, Arame. Blast this fog. Godforsaken mist. But Zimwabi does start. He creeps low and he starts stealthily making his way through the mist with his hands out. You know, he's got his Yakoa, but he's cautiously moving through the mist at a slow pace to try to get a bead on the direction. And it looks like he's failing at finding the good point of origin.
Say he's going gently through the mist? What? Just asking.
He's moving cautiously through the mist.
Is there anything further we can do to try to figure out where it's coming from or any more information?
Are you guys also moving through the mist, or are you going to wait for Zimwabi?
I suggest we fan out.
That's a good idea.
I mean, how thick is the mist?
Yeah. Irme is actually going to,
It's a good question. You've got about a 10-foot visibility.
If we stay close enough that we could see the person to our right, the person nearest us, and we fan out, we should be able to cover some ground.
We would fan out in a 60-foot area for all 10 feet apart. Yeah.
All right.
Gently travel through the mist.
Fanning out and creeping through cautiously, you move down a bank on the other side of on the opposite side of the shore. So the water line is actually a bit elevated from this point. And as you move down into this sort of pseudo crater, you kind of go below this layer and you regain some visibility. And you notice down maybe about 60 feet down into the crater. It's not steep. It's a gradual incline. You notice 6 men, and they're fighting. Yes, 6 men, and they're fighting 12 Dimetrodons. Those are I believe, the fin-back dinosaurs. I'm not sure. The Spinos.
What were those numbers again?
6 men fighting 12 of these dinosaurs, and they look to be enjoying it. They look to be having a good time.
But yeah, those are the fin ones.
Do they happen to be red-robed men?
They are not robed.
Bummer, Cappy.
No, they're
Whoa,
not.
put
They're
some
not
clothes
naked
on.
either.
Been dreaming about red-robed men.
No, they are dashing. Their
Every
swords.
girl's crazy.
The swords are flying. They're dancing around these things, and they're like making a sport of it. And what do you guys do as this is going on? It looks like they've got it in the bag. They're cutting them down one by one.
They're slaughtering them.
They don't appear to be like crazily like blood frenzied or anything, but it does look like they have. You get a vibe. Well, why don't you give me an insight? Let's do an insight check. Let's for the first ever. Let's use a con.
It's a 19 adjusted.
Yeah, so you get a sense that there is a certain bravado about them, but they don't seem, overly aggressive in nature.
They're human.
Yes, they are human, yeah.
Cappy will suggest that we take a stealthy approach and watch from the mist line, see what they do, unless you guys want to stop them from killing these dinosaurs for any reason.
No, I am a little bit wary of these men, but I see no reason to intervene with their sport.
You do see travel packs on the ground as if they had dropped what they were carrying to fight the encounter. It appears that they were set upon. Now further investigating.
Are the travel packs within 30 feet of me?
No, they're
Okay.
pretty much on the ground where they stood, where they're fighting. Like they dropped their packs and defended themselves against this pack of beasts.
Should we approach them? Or Irame's whispering to Copernicus.
Let's wait until they finish their battle. They'll be tired out by then.
Let's attack them from behind while they're busy.
Yep, so eventually, one by one, the Dimetrodons drop, and you see them begin cleaning their blades. That was glorious. How many did you get? Those kind of bravado conversations. And, well, you're about 60 feet away still at this point. And then they start to gather their packs up. Shall we continue? Aye, let's get on with it.
Let's go meet them.
Yeah?
So we'll come out of the mist and hail them?
Yeah, Irame will be careful to announce herself. As soon as she stands up and knows she's going to approach, she'll start speaking,
Okay.
giving a salutation of sorts to let them know. She doesn't want to sneak up on them in the mist, essentially.
Hell, friends.
We heard the commotion.
Hello, fellow travelers.
You give him a good hail. The one in front sheaths his sword. He says, hello there.
You lot have found yourselves far away from the port.
Oh, yes, we have not seen Port Nyanzaru in many months. Is that where you hail from?
Currently,
Who won the race?
most
Ouch.
recently, I think it was a Grung Stomper.
Damn it. What brings you this far? They start walking towards you.
I guess we all look a little apprehensive.
What brings us this far? What brings you this far?
What brings you this far?
They look like Chultans or more like us, like adventurers
They look
from
like
different,
adventurers.
different
Yeah.
lands.
And as a matter of fact, now that they're getting close, you see them starting to give you guys, check you out up and down, looking at your backs. They're getting close, looking at your backpack, your travel packs and such.
6 of them, 6 of us.
And they're, one of them says, don't take this the wrong way, but you wouldn't happen to have a charter of exploration, would you? I gotta ask.
What's
there
a
any
charter of exploration?
Are there any... Are there any signs of the flaming fist?
They're
on any of them?
actually, you now see the symbol of the flaming fist.
Oh, fucky.
We do have a charter.
Oh, and we have the guy whose
We
name's
do.
on it.
Yeah.
I'll just have to see it. It's not a big deal. I mean, if you didn't have one, you can.
Here, man, I think you have it.
Irame's going to pat herself until she pulls it out and she hands it.
The guy takes it. No swords have been drawn. He takes it from you and he unrolls it, looks at it. He says, "Looks well enough. Zim will be, huh? All right."
Kind of thumb my way over to Zimwabi.
There he is.
Looks like a pleasure to meet you, sir. Zimwabi nods and he hands you back the charter and he says, "All looks good here, boys. It's like, yeah, so what brings you out this far?
We've heard stories of a place called the Heart, and, well, I didn't believe it was true until we see it there before us.
Ah, yes. The giant floating rock in the sky, one of them says.
I'm an archaeologist by trade, and I'd like to get a close look at that. Do you know how difficult the journey is before us?
Well, I can tell you that we've been wanting to poke around that place for quite some time, but the undead in that area is just thick. It's also said that a dark creature lurks or resides somewhere either in the heart or around the heart. We'll get there soon enough. We're not in any real hurry for it. But yeah, I can understand why it'd be a prize for anybody who's willing to go for it anyway.
Well, we are with the 3 C's Shipping and Freight, and we're no strangers to putting ourselves on the line for great accomplishments.
Yeah, we are no slouches, that's for sure.
3 C's Shipping and Freight. I shall remember that, my friends.
I have great posture.
You do. Your posture is fair.
Actually, when Cappy learns the flaming fist, he kind of eases his way to the back of the line.
Slinks back a
You know
bit.
what I mean?
So let me see that buckler you got there, son.
No.
No, they appear. They don't appear even winded at this fight that they just had, and they don't appear to want to bother you either. So
We'll go about our.
If you know of any good campsites up ahead, we'd appreciate the heads up. A few days back, we ran into a rock elemental. It was quite the fray for us.
Oh, yeah, elementals, you'll find them. This place, even more so from the mainland, is just littered with history. All sorts of different time periods. You'll find magics from all sorts of them.
Sounds perfect for an archaeologist.
Oh, absolutely. You'll get your fill. However, in terms of campsites, camping spots, you'll find them. We're actually coming from a bit of a hilly, a bit of a. I don't know if they'd tell you that.
Well, would they be willing to share on our map? Could we possibly get some hexes, have them point some things out to us?
Yeah, good call.
Why don't you give me a persuasion check, or give me a charisma ability check.
I've got good persuasion. If somebody wants to aid me.
I'll aid Quincy. Maybe I whispered that in your ear.
Natty 20 for 27 total.
Whoa.
Damn.
And 17 on charisma.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that should get us there.
I feel that's along the same lines, talking about good place to set camp and pulling maps out and showing him where,
yeah. So you guys, I imagine, are taking a seat for a minute. Then he tells you it could be from the thrill of the battle, whatnot, but they're in pretty high spirits. They tell you that they were actually investigating a camp of grungs.
A grung?
What's a grung?
What is a grung?
The grungs are those frog people.
Ah.
Are they of concern?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Angry, I hear.
Yeah, if you see those things, don't even try to talk to them, because they're gonna go for your throat.
That's most unfortunate. I would like to meet a frog person. I had a pet frog when I was a young half-drow.
I never understood a single word he said, but I sure helped him drink his wine.
He says, we were investigating a situation that pertained to the Knights camp up to the north that fell. They were running short on men, and us over at Fort Balerion figured it was time to concern ourselves with the matter.
We had just come from Camp Vengeance, but how many days has it been now?
No.
4, 5?
Yeah, it's been a while. The jungle plays tricks on my mind with time.
Yes, it is very difficult to keep track of time in the jungle, but we're at Camp Vengeance, and we had met at least one of the survivors from the fallen camp.
Did he happen to say if there was any grungs involved?
He said it was all undead.
Interesting. Yeah, something doesn't feel right about it. Up until recently, the undead were just nothing more than roaming aimlessly through this very specified region.
Well, the men at Camp Vengeance seem to think that they are a greater threat than others.
In fact, you guys should take one of these ribbons.
Let me see that.
Hashtag support Camp Vengeance.
Remember Timmy.
I shall hand them out. So he shows you a point right there where they were a camp of grungs that they were investigating in that hex that I just revealed to the northeast. Good ways, few days.
So that's deep into where, far away from we've explored.
It's a bit grungy in that hexy over there.
Couple days travel away from the water shore.
Would you say that your group has noticed a rise in the population of undead, or just that they're more organized?
No, as far as we know, scholars and sages over at Fort Balerion, we have reason to believe that this is undead left over from the rise of Rosin Sea,
Yeah.
the warlord who attacked Mesro.
Yes, we recently learned of that venture in Wakanga's library.
Yes, since Rosin Sea abandoned his cause, left his mess for all of us to deal with.
But now it appears they follow someone else?
It's unlikely. Chult hasn't seen the likes of a Rosin Sea since. We'll see.
It's been a century now, 100 years?
Yes, you know your history. But do you know much of this warlord and his power?
Only the vague story that was left in a book we found in a library in Port Nyanzaro.
I believe we'd sooner see the rise of Uptau before seeing another warlord such as Rossensea. But no matter. We are on the case, and where Fort Balerion investigates, we succeed. We will rein this land in. It's just a matter of time.
And did he show us on the map where Fort Balerion was?
Fort Balerion is it's actually northeast of Port Nyanzaro, so it's already
Way up there.
discovered.
Okay.
That's Fort Balerion.
Okay.
That's pretty much the headquarters of the Flaming Fist.
Way up
All
on
right.
the Bay of Chult.
Good to know.
Yep.
It's like a month away.
So we don't go north, Cappy.
Okay.
Did our conversation reveal any more squares than the
Grung.
location of the grungs?
Rolled a natty 20.
He did, but
Just saying.
I mean, I don't really know what else. I mean, was there any? Well, let me see. I mean, pertaining to the conversation,
I
though,
guess
that's
maybe
really-
more about our immediate area is what I was looking for.
Yeah, but you could share it. Let me see.
Like maybe those hexes to
Right.
the
I
east of
see,
the
I
lake.
see what
yeah.
you're saying now.
A path to
Yeah.
the heart of
Path,
Uptown.
right. Trail
Yep.
and down. Yep. So right there.
Okay, so where they came from was a little...
And they actually came down from the Tariki. So if you are, in fact, looking at their map, they had come down through this way from the Tariki.
Right, so they were coming from the northeast. We were coming from the north. So they haven't been any further south than we have.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So the Tariki seems to end where these grung live.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep, the river Tariki flows into the goes right to Nyanzaru, to the Tariki anchorage. Yeah, he says, well, it's been great, boys and girls. Be safe if you decide to venture into the undead area there.
Quincy, as we're setting up camp, is going to... He wants to try something. He's going to tell everybody to hold off on setting up tents. There was a spell that my tutor had tried to teach me when I was a youngster that would keep one safe in hostile territories. It was very difficult for me to master, but I've been working on it, and I'd like to try it again here as we're getting closer and the threat of undead looms above us. And he's gonna, for the first time ever in Natty 19 history, he's gonna cast Lehman's Tiny Hut, which will give us a dome essentially that we could go in. It will be opaque from the outside, but we could see through it. Yep. And it prevents all magic attacks. It prevents anybody from entering.
Nice.
Oh, cool. How big? How big is the little hut?
I'll have to check. I think it fits.
It's a good question.
I
Will
think
we
it
all
fits.
fit?
I think it fits 9. Let me check the spell description, but I think it fits 9 people.
Cast at level 1, just one person.
Yeah.
Standing in there like an asshole.
Sweet, Quincy.
Yeah, he's like, he's standing in his hut. Like, I don't know what you guys are gonna do.
That sounds like an awesome spell, though.
It is an awesome spell.
Yeah.
Fucking bone lines and shit. Quincy's over here with his invisible hut.
A 10-foot radius, so it's 20 foot in diameter, immobile
okay.
dome of force.
Nice.
9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit with you, so 10 total. The atmosphere inside the space is comfortable and dry, regardless of the weather outside.
Nice. It's not even
Yeah,
humid
this is
in there.
You can command the
Yes.
interior to
Why
be
haven't you
dimly
casted
lit or
this
We need one of
before?
these right now.
I know, exactly.
All right, so you guys make it back to your camp, back up into the foggy area. That's where you pitched the hut?
Yeah. Well, I thought were we moving forward? No. We left from camp. Yeah. So
You guys are still on canoe travel, right?
right.
All right.
So yeah, the last place where all of our stuff was,
Yeah.
where we left our things.
Yeah, so you guys make it back, and you can't help but wonder, especially after meeting the Flaming Fist for the first time, really, out here in Chult, just how different that encounter went compared to how you expected it to go.
Oh yeah, our impression was that they were jerks.
Yeah, and so far anyway, I mean, it seemed decent enough. And with this newly given information about the Heart of Uptau, and now knowing that it is surrounded, it is in fact in the undead territory, I wonder if that information will have any weight on going forward with the group.
Of course it does. We're going to get rid of all the undead.
We'll see you next time. You can always count on Zaves to fucking come in the end.